Welcome, dear listener, to Learn Art While Sleeping, a haven where the whispers of art and history weave a tapestry of knowledge and serenity, guiding you gently into the embrace of sleep. Tonight, we embark on an epic odyssey through the life of Vincent van Gogh, a man whose vibrant canvases and tormented soul have illuminated the world. His story is a symphony of passion, struggle, and genius, a paradox of a man who sold only one painting in his lifetime, yet became a beacon of art history. His works now commanding millions and captivating hearts globally. Over the next many hours, we will traverse every chapter of Vincent's journey, his childhood in a Dutch village, his artistic awakening, his mastery of color and texture, his battles with inner darkness, and the radiant legacy that shines like stars in a midnight sky. Let the soft rustle of paper, the delicate glide of a paintbrush across canvas, and the gentle murmur of a Provençal breeze lull you. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let Vincent's world envelop you. If you drift to sleep, that's perfectly fine. His story will linger in your dreams, like a field of sunflowers under a swirling sky. Vincent Willem van Gogh was born on March 30th, 1853, in Zundert, a tranquil village in the Brabant region of southern Holland, where canals mirrored gray skies and heather fields stretched toward the horizon. His father, Theodorus van Gogh, a pastor in the Dutch Reformed Church, embodied quiet authority, delivering sermons steeped in Calvinist values. His mother, Anna Cornelia Carbentus, came from a family of bookbinders and amateur artists, her delicate sketches of flowers hinting at a creative spark she passed to Vincent. His birth carried a haunting echo. An older brother, also named Vincent, was still born exactly 1 year earlier. On March 30th, 1852, family visits to the grave, marked with Vincent's name, may have sown a seed of melancholy, a sense of living in another's shadow that shaped his introspective nature. The Van Gogh household was a blend of warmth and discipline. Vincent, the eldest of 6 surviving children, grew up alongside brothers Theo, Gogh, and sisters Anna, Elizabeth, and Wilhelmina. Theo, born in 1857, became Vincent's anchor, their bond immortalized in over 800 letters that reveal Vincent's dreams, fears, and artistic vision. As a child, Vincent wandered Zundert's fields, sketching beetles, windmills, and wildflowers with a stick in the dirt or charcoal on scraps of paper. These early drawings, preserved in family collections, show a keen eye for nature's textures, blades of grass, the curve of a petal, foreshadowing his later obsession with capturing the world's essence. Picture young Vincent, with reddish hair and piercing blue eyes, kneeling in a meadow, sketching under a vast Dutch sky. Let the soft rustle of leaves soothe your mind. Vincent's education was fragmented. At 7, he attended Zundert's village school, where his reserved demeanor set him apart. At 11, he was sent to a boarding school in Zevenbergen, a painful separation that deepened his sense of isolation. By 13, he studied at the Willem II College in Tilburg, learning French, German, and drawing, but struggled with rigid academics. Leaving at 15, his parents, worried about his aimlessness, secured him a position at Goupil Lancier, an art dealership in The Hague. through his uncle's connections. From 1869 to 1873, Vincent catalogued prints of Rembrandt, Millet, and Delacroix, his fascination with art growing stronger than his interest in commerce. He began sketching in his free time, copying engravings with a meticulous hand. Imagine Vincent in the gallery's dim light, surrounded by framed prints, his pencil tracing a landscape's contours. Let this quiet focus drift through your thoughts. Vincent's time at Goupil took him to London in 1873, where he lived in Brixton and fell in love with his landlady's daughter, Eugénie Noyer. Her rejection plunged him into despair, marking the first of many emotional setbacks. In 1875, he transferred to Goupil's Paris branch, but his disillusionment with art as a commodity led to his dismissal in 1876. Restless, he tried various paths: a bookseller in Dordrecht, a teacher in Ramsgate, England, and a theology student in Amsterdam, hoping to emulate his father's ministry. Each venture failed, his idealism clashing with practical demands. In 1879, he found a purpose as a lay preacher in Belgium's Born Age, a gritty coal mining region. Living among miners, he gave away his possessions, slept on straw, and sketched their weathered faces, their toil resonating with his own search for meaning. His extreme devotion alarmed church authorities, leading to his dismissal in 1880. Picture Vincent in the Born Age's dark mines, sketching by lamplight, coal dust on his hands. Let this empathy calm your heart. Artistic awakening, Brussels and The Hague. In 1880, at 27, Vincent committed to art, encouraged by Theo's financial and emotional support. In Brussels, he studied drawing, focusing on peasants and laborers, inspired by his Born Age experience. His early sketches, like Miners in the Snow, 1880, used charcoal and pencil to capture raw human struggle. In 1881, he moved to Etten, living with his parents, where he drew obsessively, studying anatomy and perspective. His unrequited love for his cousin Gogh Stricker, "I love her, and she will not love me," intensified his isolation, leading to a rift with his family. In 1882, Vincent settled in The Hague, mentored by artist Anton Mauve, who introduced him to watercolor and oil painting. Mauve taught him to observe light and shadow, shaping his early style. Vincent lived with Glacina Hornig, a seamstress and single mother, whose struggles mirrored the miners. Cian modeled for works like Sorrow, 1882, a poignant drawing of her crouched figure, its dark lines conveying vulnerability. His early technique was rooted in Dutch realism, using dark, earthy tones, browns, grays, and ochres to depict rural life. He studied Millet's peasant scenes, aiming to capture the dignity of labor. The Weaver, 1884, with its intricate depiction of a loom, showed his growing skill in texture and composition. However, his relationship with Mauve soured over his stubbornness, and Cian's struggles strained their bond. Imagine Vincent in a cramped studio, sketching Cian's silhouette, the scratch of charcoal on paper. Let this dedication lull you. In 1883, Vincent moved to Drenthe, painting somber landscapes like Peat Bog, 1883, its muddy hues reflecting the region's desolation. By 1884, He was in Nuenen, living with his parents, where he produced over 200 works, including The Parsonage Garden in Winter, 1885, his first major painting. The Potato Eaters, 1885, depicted a peasant family sharing a meal under lamplight, its rough brush strokes and muted palette evoking their harsh lives. Vincent used thick, deliberate strokes, layering paint to create texture, a precursor to his later impasto technique. He wrote to Theo, "I wanted to show their reality, not idealize it." Critics panned its lack of refinement, but Vincent saw it as a triumph of authenticity. The death of his father in 1885 deepened his isolation, prompting a brief stint at Antwerp's Royal Academy of Fine Arts before he moved to Paris in 1886. Picture Vincent in Nuenen, painting by candlelight, the smell of oil paint in the air. Let this focus drift through your mind. Paris, a revolution in color and technique. Paris in 1886 was a vibrant hub of artistic innovation, and Vincent, now 33, immersed himself in its energy. Living with Theo, an art dealer at Goupil-Lincy, he discovered Impressionism's light-filled canvases and Post-Impressionism's bold experiments. Artists like Claude Monet, Pierre-Auguste Renoir, and Mary Cassatt inspired him to abandon his dark palette for vibrant colors, ultramarine blues, cadmium yellows, and emerald greens, made possible by new synthetic pigments from the Industrial Revolution. Japanese ukiyo-e prints, with their flat compositions and vivid hues, also captivated him, influencing works like Japoneserie, Flowering Plum Tree, 1887, where he mimicked their bold outlines and asymmetrical layouts. Vincent's Paris period, 1886-1888, was prolific, with over 200 paintings. His technique evolved dramatically. He adopted looser brushstrokes, inspired by Monet's plein air approach, and began experimenting with color theory, using complementary colors, e.g., blue and orange, to create vibrancy. Self-Portrait with Gray Felt Hat, 1887, showcased his intense gaze and swirling brushwork, with short, choppy strokes creating a textured surface. Café Terrace at Night, 1888, captured a glowing cafe under a starry sky, its yellow-orange terrace contrasting with the deep blue sky, demonstrating his mastery of contrast. He painted en plein air, capturing fleeting light, and used thin layers of paint to let colors blend optically, a nod to Impressionist techniques. His letters to Theo reveal his excitement. The colors here are like a dream. Vincent frequented Montmartre's cafes, debating art with Paul Gauguin, Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, and Émile Bernard. He exhibited at the Café du Tambourin, where his works hung alongside Toulouse-Lautrec's posters. Yet, Paris's frenetic pace, coupled with heavy drinking and poor nutrition, worsened his mental health, leading to anxiety and exhaustion. In February 1888, seeking peace, he left for Arles. Imagine Vincent in a bustling Montmartre studio, mixing paints, the chatter of artists around him. Let this vibrancy carry you gently. Arles, the zenith of creativity and technique. Arles, a sun-drenched town in Provence, transformed Vincent's art. From February 1888 to May 1889, he painted over 200 canvases, his technique reaching new heights. The Mediterranean light-inspired bold, saturated colors and thick, textured brushwork. His signature impasto, where paint was applied in heavy layers, to create a three-dimensional effect. The Yellow House, 1888, depicted his rented home, its lemon-yellow walls glowing against a cobalt sky, painted with rapid, swirling strokes to convey warmth. Sunflowers, 1888, a series of still lifes, used thick impasto to mimic the petals' texture, with cadmium yellows and greens creating a radiant effect. Vincent wrote, "I want to paint what I feel, and feel what I paint." Bedroom in Arles, Estoril showcased his mastery of composition, with its tilted perspective and vibrant colors. Blue walls, yellow bed, creating a sense of calm. He used thin paint layers for smooth surfaces, contrasting with impasto in works like The Sour, 1888, where a farmer in a golden field was rendered with the dynamic, rhythmic strokes. Vincent's color theory deepened in Arles, drawing on Eugène Delacroix's ideas about complementary colors to heighten emotional impact. Café Terrace at night used yellow-orange against blue to evoke a starry night's magic. Prefiguring Starry Night, Vincent dreamed of an artist's colony, inviting Gogh to the Yellow House. Their collaboration was intense but volatile. Gauguin's structured approach clashed with Vincent's emotional spontaneity, leading to arguments. In December 1888, during a mental breakdown, Vincent cut off part of his ear, an act possibly triggered by Gauguin's departure. Hospitalized in Arles, he painted the courtyard of the hospital at Arles, 1889, using swirling greens and yellows to blend hope and despair. The townspeople, wary of his behavior, petitioned for his removal. Imagine Vincent in his yellow room, painting sunflowers, the hum of cicadas outside. Let this intensity soothe you. The irony of obscurity. One painting sold. Remarkably, Vincent sold only one painting during his lifetime. The Red Vineyard, 1888, a vivid depiction of workers harvesting grapes under a fiery sunset, sold for 400 francs to Anna Gogh, a Belgian artist. In 1890, it was his sole commercial success. Vincent wrote to Theo, "I paint for myself, not for the market." This irony is staggering. Today, his works fetch millions, with Portrait of Dr. Gogh selling for $82.5 million on a 1990 and Irises for $53.9 million in 1987. His obscurity in life, contrasted with his posthumous fame, underscores the tragedy and triumph of his story. Imagine Vincent in Arles, unaware his paintings would one day adorn museums, painting with relentless passion. Let this poignancy drift through your mind. Saint-Rémy, Art a Sanctuary. In May 1889, Vincent entered the Saint-Paul de Mausolles asylum in Saint-Rémy-de-Provence, seeking stability. The asylum's gardens, olive groves, and starry skies inspired his most expressive works. Starry Night, 1889, painted from his barred window, is a cosmic masterpiece. Its swirling cypresses and blazing stars, rendered with thick impasto and rhythmic brushstrokes. Vincent used ultramarine and cobalt blues, contrasted with yellows, to evoke a spiritual cosmos, influenced by Whistler's nocturnes and his own fascination with astronomy. He wrote, "Stars make me dream." Other works, like Olive Trees, 89, and Irises, 1889, used impasto to mimic nature's textures. Gnarled branches, delicate petals with vibrant greens and purples. Vincent's technique in Saint-Remy was bold, with exaggerated forms and swirling patterns, reflecting his emotional state. He painted rapidly, often completing a canvas in a day, using wet-on-wet techniques to blend colors directly on the canvas. His letters revealed art as his lifeline. Painting keeps me from going mad. Despite depressive episodes, he produced over 150 works, each a testament to his resilience. Picture Vincent in the asylum garden, painting under a blazing sun, the rustle of olive leaves around him. Let the strength calm you. Auvers-sur-Oise, the final brushstrokes. In May 1890, Vincent moved to Auvers-sur-Oise, near Paris, under Dr. Paul Gachet's care. His final works, like Wheatfield with Crows, 1890, used dramatic, jagged brushstrokes and stormy blues to suggest turmoil, while Almond Blossom, 1890, painted for Theo's newborn son, featured delicate whites and greens, symbolizing hope. The Church at Auvers, 1890, distorted reality with vibrant blues and yellows, its undulating lines prefiguring expressionism. Vincent's technique here combined impasto with thin glazes, creating depth and movement. On July 27, 1890, Vincent shot himself in a wheat field, dying 2 days later on July 29th at 37, with Theo by his side. His last words, reportedly, were, "The sadness will last forever." Theo died 6 months later, their bond eternal. Imagine Vincent in that golden field, paintbrush in hand, stars above him. Let this poignant moment linger softly. Legacy. From obscurity to immortality, Vincent's death sparked his legend. Theo's widow, Johanna, published his letters and organized exhibitions, catapulting him to fame by the 1900s. Today, his paintings are among the world's most valuable. Portrait of Dr. Gachet, $82.5 million, 1990. Irises, $53.9 million, 1987. And Sunflowers, $39.9 million, 1987. Starry Night, at the Museum of Modern Art, draws millions, its swirling skies a universal symbol of emotion. Van Gogh's techniques, impasto, vibrant colors, expressive brushwork, influenced Fauvism, Expressionism, and Abstract Expressionism. Artists like Henri Matisse, Edvard Munch, and Jackson Pollock drew from his emotional intensity. His life-inspired films, Loving Vincent 2017, Songs, Don McLean's Vincent, and exhibitions like the Van Gogh Museum's 2023 Van Gogh in Auvers. His image permeates pop culture. On t-shirts, mugs, and Vans sneakers. In Japan, Sunflowers is a cultural icon. In Brazil, his works inspire murals. His letters, translated globally, reveal a man who saw beauty despite pain. Imagine Starry Night glowing in a museum, its stars whispering to millions. Let this legacy fill your dreams. The 19th century art world. The emergence of Vincent's work were during a transformative era that saw remarkable changes globally. Industrial revolution brought about the use of synthetic pigments, which significantly impacted the vibrancy of his color palette. Impressionism, a movement begun by pioneers like Monet and Renoir, broke away from traditional academic norms by embracing loose brushwork and focusing on light-focused scenes. This approach introduced a fresh artistic dynamic, post-impressionism, a movement that further developed after the works of Paul Cézanne and Georges Seurat, was characterized by an emphasis on emotion and symbolism. This artistic direction brought about a shift in viewpoint, with artists like Van Gogh increasingly exploring personal and cultural themes. At the same time, Dutch realism, featuring notable artists like Rembrandt, had an impact on Vincent's early style. Furthermore, Japanese ukiyo-e prints played an influential role in shaping his artistic compositions during his Paris and Arles periods. Envision a Parisian cafe surrounded by artists discussing their work under gaslight, illuminated by the clinking of glasses. Allow this world to transport you through time to that era and immerse yourself in the creative atmosphere. Van Gogh's techniques, a masterclass in expression. Vincent's art style evolved significantly over the course of his life. Early period, 1880-1885. Dark, realistic tones adorn works like The Potato Eaters, with rough brushstrokes and minimal color contrast. Metamorphosis, 1886, adopted the Impressionist artistic method, moving toward loose brushwork and vibrant colors, incorporating thin paint layers and complementary colors, e.g., blue-orange in Cafe Terrace at night. The Starry Night, 1888, developed impasto techniques that involved applying thick paint with a palette knife or brush, resulting in a dynamic blend of colors. The Sunflowers, 1890, experimented with color theory, utilizing yellow-green contrasts to achieve emotional impact. The Hay Wain, 1886, introduced a sense of movement with swirling patterns and exaggerated forms. The Potato Eaters, 1886, showcased an interest in human emotions, as demonstrated by the portrayal of suffering. Saint-Remy, 1889, exaggerated human forms and intricate swirling patterns in Starry Night, with wet-on-wet techniques creating a dynamic visual effect. Auvert, 1890, combined impasto with glazes in wheat field with grows, creating a rich depth and movement. In his letters, Vincent shares his process. I paint with joy and anguish, as if the subject matter was part of my soul. Depict Vincent in a field, paint splattered across his coat, brush dancing across the canvas. Allow this boundless creativity to soothe and inspire you. A compassionate lens. Vincent's mental health is complex. Historical records suggest bipolar disorder, epilepsy, or schizophrenia, exacerbated by absinthe, malnutrition, and stress. The ear incident, 1888, remains mysterious, possibly linked to Gauguin's departure. In Saint-Remy, he found solace in painting, producing Starry Night during lucid moments. Modern scholars, like those at the Van Gogh Museum, emphasize his resilience. The script avoids romanticizing his struggles, focusing on his humanity. Imagine Vincent painting through pain, the steady rhythm of his brush. Let the strength calm you. Van Gogh's single sail contrasts starkly with his modern fame. His paintings appear in films, At Eternity's Gate, 2018, TV, Doctor Who's 2010 episode, and ads. Fashion brands like Louis Vuitton feature his designs. Exhibitions, like the Van Gogh Museum's 2025 Van Gogh in Color show draw millions. His story resonates globally. In Japan, sunflowers is revered. In South America, his works inspire street art. Imagine a museum gift shop, Starry Night on a postcard. Its colors vibrant. Let this universality carry you. As we draw the curtains on this journey through Vincent van Gogh's life, dear listener, let us linger a while longer in the glow of his legacy, a light that burns brighter with each passing year. Picture yourself standing in a quiet museum gallery, the air cool and still, the faint rustle of your breath mingling with the soft hum of distant footsteps. Before you hang Starry Night, its swirling blues and blazing yellows pulsing like a heartbeat, whispering stories of a man who painted his soul onto canvas. Let the gentle sound of a paintbrush gliding across rough canvas, the soft scratch of charcoal on paper, and the whisper of a summer breeze through a wheat field guide you deeper into this moment. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let Vincent's world wrap around you like a warm embrace, carrying you toward dreams. Vincent van Gogh, a man who sold just one painting in his lifetime. The Red Vineyard, a vivid scene of grape harvesters under a fiery sunset, sold for 400 francs to Anna Boke in 1890, could scarcely have imagined the reverence his work commands today. That single sale, a fleeting moment of recognition, stands in stark contrast to the millions his paintings now fetch at auction houses across the globe. Portrait of Dr. Gogh with its melancholic gaze sold for $82.5 million in 1990, a record-breaking sum at the time. Irises, with its delicate purple blooms, fetched $53.9 million in 1987, and sunflowers, those radiant emblems of hope, commanded $39.9 million the same year. These numbers, staggering as they are, only hint at the true value of Vincent's art, not in currency, but in the hearts it touches. Imagine Vincent in his small Arles studio, unaware that his sunflowers would one day grace museum walls, his stars inspiring millions. Let this irony drift softly through your mind, like a leaf on a quiet stream,